Good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon and Flat Earth Homeland. I went a little bit over 15 minutes, and it probably won't be able to upload it to Flat Earth Homeland. It is a pain. I'm verified. I was verified right away. I went through the procedure. I'm verified. I try to upload a video that's over 15 minutes. You're not verified. Click here to begin the process. I click there. It says you've been verified. Which I was from the start. So, really a pain. Anyway, so the saga of the cots, the problem was that when I went to get my pads, camping, sleeping mat pads out of the Airstream, the door was frozen shut. So I just, if I can't get it, I don't need it. If I don't have it, I don't need it. Okay. Tough guy. Well, it turned out that I really did need them because with the pad on there, and then I put a towel on the pad, and the pad had enough like Velcro or something. It just created a non-sliding surface. So for the pad, I put on our big sleeping bags. High peak sleeping bag, a lot of mat padding, whatever. Slippery, and then my other bags on them, slippery, the bag I was sleeping under or on or whatever was wanting to go on the floor. So over the last Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, 4 nights, I've gradually made improvements and figured out, okay, well, I can put this in here. I can actually sleep inside this bag. And but the bag's small. The one I'm sleeping in is small. So anyway, it's, in other words, I put the big flat bag that I had been using, sleeping in underneath. Well, the bag I'm actually sleeping in, just my feet is all. But it's, sometimes I can't get it, so anyway, so this is going to be a huge blessing. And so I'm glad that Jersey was able to get that. So there's things we need and think we're going to need. And I don't care, it's like I can use a box. I don't want to buy stuff that's going to break and spend money on it when I could spend money on, something like this, a weapon. I don't want to ever have to tell someone, we have no weapons. What was that from? Beverly Hills Cop. I think. We have no weapons. I don't want, you shouldn't have to say that. And there's a lot of cheap things we could do. I have always focused on, and this is what I guess going to be the topic of conversation today, and that is I have always, from the inception of my vision, and I knew immediately, and basically because of, I think of things as you're talking, probably because what I saw when I say I had a vision, Leonard Ravenhill, an old British preacher, he's lived in Texas most of his life, but, came over here and revival preacher. Why Revival Tarries, one of the very first Christian books I read. Read that book if you can get it. I think his 6th book was Sodom Had No Bible. Ooh, what a statement. In other words, if God doesn't do something to judge America, he's going to have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm sorry. I blasted you and I'm letting America slide. So, but he's one of those things on the tape. He said, Hugo went to Mongolia. Why? Because he had a vision. Henry Martin went to, Robert Murray McShane went to Israel. Why? Because he had a vision. Judson went to Burma. Why? Because he had a vision. Hudson Taylor went to China. Why? Because he had a vision. Why don't you do anything? Because you have a vision. TELE-Vision. So, man, if you're watching Hulu or anything on internet, any of those companies, stop. You're being brainwashed. You think Facebook is a joke? I just put up a playlist on Slaughterbots. Yeah, like Slaughterhouse, Slaughterbots. Fact, they can dump out millions of them out of a plane. Their little quadcopter about that big drone, artificially intelligent. They can fly up, 3-gram shape charge, boom, dead. So, brains and blood leaking all over the floor. Yeah, pretty frightening crap. And they're probably, Richie from Boston said he talked about them a full year ago, and said that they are the locust from Revelation, scorpions. Locust with tails like scorpions. So, what are locusts? They fly, and scorpions sting. And these things, that's about all they do is sting. But they sting right here, right through the skull. So, watch one of the videos anyway, and then just don't watch any more of them. I mean, I didn't watch them all. When I do a playlist, I'm just looking for topics. So don't think that I sat there and watched all those. I don't watch hardly all of anything unless it's really important. So, but anyway, so when I say I had a vision, I mean I had a vision. Young couple coming through the woods, holding the hand of a boy and a girl. And I knew immediately several things. They had not left the city in time. Don't do that. You might be that couple. Actually, I had a mom that I was helping stand there when I was helping her move, look up into my eyes and say, that young couple that you saw in your vision? And I went, yeah. And she goes, that was my daughter and her husband and children. So, and it's possible. 2 of her daughters live within walking distance of here. So, yes. Yeah. So I knew that young couple had nothing but the clothes they were wearing, the shirt on their back. I also knew that as they came toward me and over to my right, to their left, there was an open door of an underground house that could not be seen. It was invisible from above. If they had walked over the top of it, they could have fallen, or they would have had to go, be careful, okay? Or jump down if they were limber enough and young enough and, light enough. I wouldn't do it. So, but I knew that house had been built for them. Them meaning whoever got there first. And they got there first, it was them. It was their house. So, to me, it brings to mind one of the last things that Messiah told us was what? I go to prepare a place for you. And is that not what he's doing right now through his people? We have this thing, and so many believers in church have this, someday, poof, he's going to come back. And he's going to, there's nothing in Scripture that tells you what's going to happen. But everybody has this preconceived idea that they got from somebody, preachers or whatever. This is what's going to happen. And of course, false theologians that think, there's going to be a rapture and blah, 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 pre-trib rapture, mid-trib rapture, post-trib rapture, who knows. Don't get me started on that. Oh, bite tongue. Bloody tongue. So, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be poofy, presto, magic wand, suddenly we're floating around on clouds playing harps with wings, I believe that he is coming back for a bride, for a church without spot or wrinkle. And that's a tough one, because you see nothing but sin in the church, outside the church, in Christianity, outside Christianity. Very few people are living as the Gospels teach us. Let me give you a little Bible study, because this fascinated me. Early this morning, I was looking at scriptures, and if you look up what is the number of man, 666. What is 6? Well, if you look up Al Neal, infinity code and whatnot, so this is not stuff I came up with, this is Al Neal, I'm giving him credit. Shout out if you're still around. If you look up the word Satan, first time it's used is in the 359th chapter of the Bible. Well, just so happens that if you add up the Hebrew Gematria for Satan, it is 359. Weird. Just coincidence that it's used on the 359th chapter of the Bible. First time it appears. And Satan came and presented himself before Yahweh. And then what happens on the 359th day of the year? Satan's day. What's the Gematria of Satan / Santa? Same thing, same entity. What are you doing on Christmas Day? You're worshiping Saturnalia and Satan and whatnot. So anyway, bunny trail, slight bunny trail. But here's the deal is really interesting. Carbon, man is carbon. Man is a carbon-based organism. The atomic weight number of carbon is 6. Get 3 carbon atoms, you got 666. And so go to Genesis 6 and read that. And what does it teach you about man? Go to Exodus 6. What does that teach you about man? Go to Leviticus 6. What does that teach you about man? Go to Deuteronomy 6. What does that teach you about man? Go to Psalm 6. Go to Matthew 6. Go to Mark chapter 6. Go to Luke chapter 6. Go to John chapter 6. And when I got to the epistles, and it got to the shorter ones, Philippians, there's no chapter 6. What's chapter 1, verse 6? What does it teach you? What does that passage, that verses before and after teach you about man? Chapter 2, verse 6. Chapter 3, verse 6. Chapter 4, verse 6. Colossians. I think you follow what I'm getting at there. Fascinating study, and it just took me through this whole broad, exposure to a lot of the, just basic, simple, in a matter of 45 minutes to an hour of Torah and Psalms, prophets, and then the Gospels and Acts, the historical book, Romans 6. What does Romans 6 teach you about man? Oh my God, it's amazing. And then the Pauline epistles and all the admonitions and just encouragements and warnings and false teachers. There will be men among you who are false teachers, and just a fabulous, presentation. So anyway, and the reason I got into carbon was what is made out of carbon? What if you take carbon like coal and put it under extreme pressure and then put it under extreme heat and put it under extreme stress, pressure, and start crushing it and heating it up? You get another form of carbon. You get a diamond. So some of you out there have been under pressure for a long time. And you've been under a lot of heat for a long time. And you've been under a lot of stress for a long time. And I'm just thinking that those times, right as I said that, it was 1333, 333, get in the ark. Those times of testing, I believe, are coming to an end, and times of blessing. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy, and the darkest hour is just before the dawn. So just wanted to put those things together there. The word diamond in Hebrew, as far as I understand, amounts to, it's 300 plus 200, that's 500. And then there's one form that would be 40, and another form that would be 50, or 30 and 40, whatever. But it works out to, it should be Psalm 72. Read Psalm 72 and do a study on it and see what you come up with there. And I'm going to read next video, I'm going to read a writing or poem or whatever you want to call it that I found. I said, Lord, universe, is there some connection between Psalm 72 and my name, Diamond? Read the psalm, there's definitely a connection. It's what I'm doing. It's what I am. The word diamond in Hebrew is what I am. It is what I'm doing. It's in my blood, my DNA. This is Jerry Diamond. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant.